Hello everyone. Let me just find my camera. There you go. Hello everyone. I'm going to, this is a recording to show you how to do reflections. I'll go down to my other camera and then you'll see a better picture of it. What you will need is watercolours, either pens or tubes. You will need a ruler. You need a rubber, pencil, and I use a Uniball eye micro. You can get these from Tesco's. It just needs to be a waterproof pen because you will be obviously using watercolours on it, and it will smudge and bleed into that. You need water, you will need a kitchen towel. I think that's about it, actually. So let me go down to my other camera. There we go, that's a better picture. So we're going to be creating this today. So first of all, I want you to get your watercolour paper. You do need watercolour paper for this, it'll work better, and divide it into quarters like that on portrait. Then let's get some measurements going. From the centre point, go out to the right, 4 dots, 1 centimetre apart, back to the middle. Go up 11 dots, 1 centimetre apart, back to the middle. Come down 10 dots, 1 centimetre apart, back to the middle, and out to your left 9 dots, 1 centimetre apart, and come back to the middle. Once you've done that, I want you to draw the horizon line. So basically, the rule of thumb of any picture is where you've got the middle of the page, you either go above or you go below it. We're going below it this time. So this is the centre of your paper, and we're going to go below it. So on the 2 centimetre marker, draw yourself a line across, and that is going to be the water line that we're going to work on. Once you've done that, we're going to start to create the building. So we're going to draw a square. Let's go up to 9 centimetre marker and out 3 centimetre marker, and draw yourself a line that a box that you can see there on the screen. Once you've done that, you draw yourself another box. So go back up to the 9 centimetre marker, go all the way across to 3, and then go out again another 1, 2, 3 centimetres, and come down through the 6 centimetre. So up 9, out 6, and down. And you can see you've got 2 lines there. Okay, so what we're actually working on first is we're actually going to work on this building over here. Then we're going to add him in afterwards. So from the centre point, up 5.5, and go out to your line that we originally drew at the 6 centimetre marker, and draw yourself a dot. Back to the centre, up 3, and out 4.5, and draw yourself a dot. And up 3, and out 7, and draw yourself a dot. Now from those dots, I want you to actually draw yourself a line. So this is the bottom of the church here. So come from the centre point here and come down 1 centimetre and draw yourself a line across the whole page. And this is where the bottom of the church. So this is your water's edge here. And this is going to be your bottom of your church. So I'm giving you this marker here, I'm giving you this marker here. I want you to just draw a line all the way down to the church line that we're going to work from. So you should have, as you can see on the screen there, 2 lines coming down. Okay, so you can rub out now because we drew this line all the way down, but in the picture, as you can see here, this one here sits in front of this one here. So we're literally going to rub out that line there. So you can rub this line out here if you no longer need it. We will need the top part because we're going to work with that in a bit later. But what you're going to draw now is I gave you this marker here, and obviously you've got these here, and you've drawn these lines down here. Create your triangle, and then just create your roof across like that. And you've started to create the front of the church. There we go. So we've just drawn the front of the church. And then you can add in the details, as you can see on the screen there. Now this is an enlarged window, which goes in here and here. And this is the enlarged window. And it's covered by trees, so you don't have to worry about this other window here. Trees, bushes. So just draw what you see on the screen there, basically. You've got your two windows, kind of equal, not equal size, doesn't really matter. So you've got two little square boxes here. I did some graveyards in front of here. This is the church line that we drew on behind there. This is the water line that we're still working on. And add the cross, and you've got the beams coming down, and then this across here. So just add all the details on. So that's a small square, and then a bigger square around that. And then you've got the guttering on the church there. So just have a look at the screen there. Pause if you need to. Draw what you see. I mean, you could draw these more equal than me. I do them quite freehand. I quite like the kind of aesthetic effect of things being higgledy-piggledy because, you know, it's kind of hand-drawn and sketched. So once you've got that, I won't fill that one in then. We've done him already. We're going to go and draw on the tower. So we're going to create some parameters to draw all the detail on. So we've drawn him on. Obviously, these bits here are covered by the bushes. And we're going to create the turrets and then these lines of sections, and we're going to work on those. So this center line that we originally drew is going to be the pivot point. And you're going to slightly take it down. Where's my shorter ruler? This is your pivot point. And if I put my ruler there, you can see it slightly, you need to tip it. So it's just to give that kind of perspective effect. So you're literally just going to tip it about 2 mil. So you have your ruler like that, just tip it slightly, 2 millimeters, and draw yourself a line. And whatever line you draw there, that needs to follow, and that needs to follow, and that one needs to follow. And the same with that one. So I'll give you the measurements of the lines coming down. So just whatever you pivot, it's about 2 mil, each one needs to follow. So what I want you to do is do that, pivot, and then draw it's about 1 centimetre, slightly less, about what, 7 mil on my one. So that's about 7 mil. The gap. So if you can see that's straight, and slightly pivot it, 7 mil. And then this one is, let's have a look. It's about 2.5 centimetres. And then this one is 3.2. And so you can follow that on the other side and just have just a slight tilt to create that kind of perspective effect, so it's slightly turned down on it. Don't worry about it too much. You can see that's kind of an exaggeration, but that's what I'm trying to get you to do, to get that kind of corner effect on church. It's not really too much on the turret in this picture, but sometimes it can be quite distinctive. So now you've got those parameters you've got on your paper. So this is your 7 mil gap here. So draw in your turrets. As you can see there, there's a copy of it over there. These are your enlarged versions, obviously don't draw those over there. And then draw in your little sections here that they have on the church. As you can see on the screen there, you'll have your lines to work on. So just use your lines that you've got on there. That's all you need to do. And then when you've done that, you add in the windows. Now this side of the church here, I know I've done them in black felt tip, but actually, as you can see here is little sort of hash lines on the painting. Here, you can see, if I zoom in, there we go. It's not actually black, so you just need to get your pen and create kind of a dark colour, or you can use your watercolour paper, it's completely up to you. You've got your door, you've got your windows, so just pop those on, as you can see on the screen there. Once you've done that, we're going to add the rest of the detail on. So I haven't got the windows on this one, but what you're going to add on is your bushes, just quick little squiggles. Then you've got this buttress that comes out. Yeah. Bushes. And then you've got these little posts. Don't overthink it, they're just posts. Little squares, lights coming from the right, so they're dark on one side, and you have your fence. And then this is the water line. If you want to do them 1 centimetre apart and do them more regular, feel free. I like to do them kind of really rough, but that's my style, and you'll find your way of doing it. And once you've done that, you need to then create the reflections. Very bitty, as you can see here. I haven't drawn straight lines, I've drawn dash lines. So where the posts are, kind of mark them. And reflections in the water always go like that. So that one, like that. And then the window, so that's quite close there. So that can be quite dark. And as you get further away into the water, you just create that kind of dashy lines, because we will be adding paint in and we will be mirror imaging what we've got up here with our paint down here. It just gives us a rough idea of where things are. So you can make those windows a little bit darker with your pen. Obviously I've got my pencil here, but you can just use your pen. And then we did have some windows here. And you can add them in if you want. It's not really, if you want them to look at the church, it all just comes together. And you start painting it really. Once you've got that, you start to get your paints ready. So you will need kitchen towel. I will have a bit of kitchen towel. I will go through the colours as we go along. So we will start off, we actually will use ultramarine for our sky on this one. So they always do the sky first. So whatever you paint up here, you've got to paint down here because it's a reflection of. So I'm going to start off with my ultramarine. I've got a fairly big brush because I like to work. You can cover more area with a bigger brush. So I turn the sky upside down when I'm working with it. I slightly tilt the tilt it by about an inch just to get it a little bit. So I'm just going to put a bit of water on here. Go around the church. Just bushes there. There we go. Round we go. Just follow the edge. I'm just going to turn it around this way now. Put a bit of water on just to start the process. Go into the ultramarine, which I think is that one. And get some colour on. So it's darker on this picture at the top. So you can see it's already wet, so, and it's watercolour paper, so it will just take paint and just try and go around to follow the edge of your building. And that's the importance of a paintbrush. The point enables you to get nice and close to where you want to go. And the bushes, you can just take it down into the bushes. You're going to add some colour on with that in a little bit. And that's the edge, top of the church. like that. So if you want to add some clouds, a little bit of kitchen paper, tear it off, screw it up. Now, that. You can add another one down there, and another one up here. Quickest way to draw a cloud, paint a cloud. Sorry. There you go, clouds are on. Obviously, I've painted what I painted down there. It needs to come down here. So same thing again. Follow the process that you did up there, around the buildings, rough idea where they are. Bit of water, and generally the reflection is slightly lighter than your upper one. Generally. So that's my cloud is up there. So I'm just going to put one about there. Okay, and that's it. And that's your sky. You don't have to overthink it. So let's fill the building in. So I used, where's my burnt sienna? There he is. Burnt sienna. So I used like a burnt sienna for my church. So this is a shadow. The light is coming from the right hand side. So I'm trying to create some shadow. So I'll do some dark. I'm going to leave that white. I'm going to let the paper do some of the work for me. So I'm just going to leave that white. I'll blend that in a minute. So I'll water that down a little bit and get my smaller brush going to get some detail. And then that's going to be slightly lighter. So I'm going to have that, and I'll borrow the pigment, and that's just slightly lighter. So I've got quite a lot of paint up there. So this side is lighter. This left hand back one is darker. So I will add a bit of burnt umber as well as burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is kind of a rusty brown. And burnt umber is obviously brown. Just give a bit more depth. Add a bit of burnt umber, a bit darker, because under there obviously that's darker because that goes behind that one. So you add a bit of depth by adding a bit of burnt umber into that. You can add a bit of burnt umber on that side. It just darkens it up a little bit. You don't need to you don't normally need to add greys and blacks to paint. You just need to use a darker version of the other colour that you're using. There you go. Get that, put that out. And just let the watercolour paper do its thing. You can move it around with your brush if you're not happy with where it's landed. It's not a problem. And then this one here is the same. And then this one here is the same. And then I'll do a lighter one on that side. Different variations in the tones, basically, like so. And then I'm going to add a bit of indigo, I think, down here where the shadows are. Just be careful you get lots of water sitting up in this bit here, and then when you turn your brush like that, it all starts to come out. It floods your paper with lots of water, which is what you don't want it to do. Now you can paint over your drawing, because all you're trying to do is create some shade, shadow going on. And obviously this building is behind this one in the front, so you're just trying to create a kind of effect going on. Clean my brush, just got a damp brush now, so I'm just going to blend out a nice crisp. Keep this side white. Just got the sun on it. And you can go in and add a little bit more if you want to. Once you've got that all on there, dab it in. Let it go in. so. Just spread it about a little bit when you're happy. Now, obviously, and then we've got that buttress there. We're going to do a bit of dark, a bit of thing on there, and then we're going to add it down below here because we can work on both at the same time. You can add it in, up and down. So we're working on creating that difference of shading. And obviously we've got that going in the water there, so I'm just going to take that down. And we've got this going on down here as well. Clean my brush. And this should be a bit lighter, and it doesn't matter if it disappears off into the water. Just try and keep this bit here white. What's going on there? And then we can add a bit of burnt sienna to create the turrets up here. There's a bit there, a bit there, pointing at the roof. Just an illusion that it's going on down below. You can add more in a minute. Just I haven't got the rest of the building on yet. And then we've got the burnt sienna for the roof here. So just add him on and blend him out. Just when the sun's coming from the right, so that's why that all stays nice and bright and crisp. Just let the watercolour paper do that for you. And then we're going to add some indigo on this side. I'm using indigo as my shading colour. You can use Payne's Grey if you want to. I'll just take that across. And then I'm going to simulate those colours in the water here. Just take that less bright colour off and then just do a bit of indigo down there. And then clean my brush and just pull that across. So you're starting to get what you've got up here. You've got going on down there. That's what you wanted. So you're just working backwards and forwards, getting that connection. So now we've got that on, we can actually start to put the bushes on. I'm going to go back to my bigger brush because I know that works better. So I'm going to use like a sap green. So I'm going to go with burnt umber to start with because I want this quite dark here. So it really punches out the church. And actually we can fire that up with some water first. Let's put some water, just plain water on there. Get that going. And actually put some plain water underneath in the water as well. So you can work up and down at the same time. Get that going. So let's do a bit burnt umber. So we've got our burnt umber going in to get that quite dark. And you can almost sort of have a, you don't need as much paint down below because obviously it's supposed to be a bit lighter. You can always add more. Where's my burnt umber? There we go. There we go. And the water just takes it. Just let it take it. You can add a little bit below. We've got our little water line going here, so let's put that in while we're. So this is the edge of the water. And you always leave a tiny little white line below that, which we will do as well. So we're going to work on some green now. So this looks like my sap green. A bit of sap green in there. Just turn it and pop it in, and we'll put some blues in. And then a bit more faded down here, and then a bit more strong. So always put your pigment at top, and then once it starts to fade, and I quite often turn my brush like that. And then just once it's lost a lot of its paint, then you can go below the waterline because it just needs a faded version of what you've got going on up top. And I'm going to add a bit of, what should I add? A bit of ultramarine. Some darker shades over here. Just turn your brush. You can almost come down here. Just add that down here. So it copies it. So you're just copying it, whatever you do up there, you do down below, but it's more faded down below in the water, so you can see I'm going to add a bit. So just vary your colours. You can do your brushes how you like, really. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to follow mine at all. And I'm just going to blend those in a little bit more with a bit of water. You know, and then blend into each other around the fence posts like that. And then I'm going to put some bushes over this side, just in front of the church here, like that. And then just put some of that, some of that in the water. I'm just going to leave that little white, you see that little white line between the brown. I'm going to leave that tiny, don't blend it. This little line here, there, don't lose it. It's quite important when you're doing water to leave that whenever you're doing any kind of water. And that's a bit bright green, so I'm going to add a bit of ultramarine to tone that down a bit. There we go, it's better. And obviously down here I've got, I'm going to add a bit of green as well, so I need to copy what we've got up there. You can fade that a little bit though, because it's a bit bright. That's better. And add a bit of, you can add a bit of contrast on there by adding a bit of ultramarine. Just drop it in and it will smudge. Remember, the light's coming from the right, so the left-hand side of your bush do a bit darker with your ultramarine. And that's fine. It will take it, and you can go all the way up like that. So I'm going to fade that up. A bit of green in there. Oh yeah, that's better. And you can always add highlights wherever you want highlights. I want a bit more, slightly darker there. Definition. That's still wet. Go over with my smaller brush and kind of pull that out a little bit. A little bit more definition behind here, so that punches out that one in front. Better. Go back in, just pull it out with your brush. Just water on my brush, that's all. You can add that down below here. So whatever you're putting up top, you need to put down below. So you've got reflections, basically. That's what we're trying to create. And then the reflection can be wiggly. You don't have to, they don't have to be straight. Reflections can be kind of very loose. The looser they are, the better, actually. To kind of blend, you can blend that in so there's not such harsh lines. You want to get rid of that on the reflections more so than up top. Okay, I think that's it. I'm not going to work on that. I'm going to leave that to dry. You can always go back to it and change things if you want to. See rid of that a little bit, let that blend in. You can go over it with a bit more Uniball and give a bit more texture if you want, and play around with it a bit more. But basically, whatever you do up here and paint, you paint down below, so you get that reflections. Okay, so if you do this video, I'd love for you to send me your picture. My WhatsApp number is 0759 0318. I'd love to see what you've been up to. Thank you for watching.